What's going on, guys? I'm here back in the Soviet gym I found in the fucking mountains in Georgia, abandoned. I do have one friend that I met over here. He's somewhere in the background over there. 19-year-old beast, Georgian beast, doing pull-ups and shit. He's already built like a fucking lion, apparently on calisthenics only. Just wanted to do a quick little vlog, and talk about the beauty of training in a place like this, outside, away from the fucking box of, a gym, away from the crappy gym music. And I also wanted to show that, once again, the nonlinear training concept is beautiful to analyze here, because you can... We often put ourselves in boxes. The gym is for training, home is for eating and jerking off. I'm kidding, but we don't really often train ourselves to break out of these little boxes, right? So I'll show you how I'm training myself to break out of my little box today. I have my little desk here, which is supposed to be like a makeshift bench press, but I'm not sure if it really works. But I'm learning Georgian, so I'll show you some of my writings. This is Georgian. So I just bought my little notebooks here, and happens to be a Georgian guy here, so I'm practicing a couple words with him, and just putting in that couple minutes. It doesn't have to be 3 hours. I know a friend of mine said, if you're not willing to put in 12 hours a day of learning a language, then just forget it. And it's like, he was talking about learning Japanese, which is a pretty tough language, admittedly. But I don't believe in that kind of attitude, that kind of all or nothing mentality. It's actually really counterproductive. It doesn't mean no one can ever, do something difficult and do it for long periods. Obviously, many people do things sometimes excessively long periods. Sometimes people have to be pried away from whatever it is they're learning or doing, and that's fine. That obsessive aspect of learning is a cool thing if you can kind of wake that up in yourself. I definitely go through that with certain things, but especially for the harder tasks, like if you have a lot of natural resistance towards training, like fitness, or you have natural resistance towards learning some skill like mathematics. Sometimes I want to learn a little bit of math, and I would never do it if my mentality was, you have to fucking commit yourself and do all this shit for 10 hours a day and 3 hours a day and 20 hours a week. You might even be able to build up to that eventually, right? But I think the concept of tiny habits, priming your mind, creating a low barrier of entry for tasks, and then doing them for small periods is vastly more effective and keeps your mind in the game. So, I just did 5 minutes of Georgian. Guess what? Later on tonight, this evening, if there's an hour, because I did that 5 minutes, I'm more likely to do another 10 minutes maybe, and then another 20. It just keeps me in the game. But if I keep telling myself, oh, it needs to be this giant commitment, 20 minutes ain't nothing, then chances are I probably won't do it, or I'll procrastinate. I'll keep procrastinating on it. And it's the same thing with the training just now. I mean, I just did 8 pull-ups, 25 push-ups, 25 squats. I did push-ups down on the hike. There's a really steep fucking climb right now, so my legs were already pretty worked up. Natural lunging. When you go uphill, you're naturally lunging. So earlier this week, I was not feeling the training at all. I was going out a lot, partied a bit hard, and you do that for a couple of days. Even a guy like me who's like dedicated quickly loses touch with some of those motivational regions of the brain that associate training with positive energy. So I went back. I was on the beach a few days ago in Batumi, and there was a pull-up bar, and all I had to do was touch that bar, and it like reactivated something. But here's the key: it reactivated something that just telling myself the benefits of working out, or reminding myself some rational notion of why working out is good for me and why blah blah blah. That stuff isn't enough, but touching the bar sends a totally different chemical signal to my brain, and next thing you know, my motivation returned much stronger. So what does that say about the illusion of rational control over motivation? And this is a huge thing I want to talk about. In fact, I'm going to be working on right now it's still in the drafting phase, but I'm going to probably be coming out with a course soon on choice architecture and motivation, specifically when it comes to managing porn addiction, compulsive sexual behavior, and how to overcome this fucking demon of porn addiction that we as men are faced with. Many of us have succumbed to it for so long that we think it's a natural part of life, when in reality there are ways to take back control and not be a slave to the screen, aka be cucked by some other dude doing something you want to do to a chick or whatever you're into. So and in that course I'll be talking about how to structure your environment so that basically you don't always have to rely on willpower, and you can shake off this illusion that rational control is enough, and that you can just decide to quit something, and I can decide whenever I want to, I just don't want to. I hear this with cigarette smokers all the time. And by the way, I hope he's not watching this, but if he is, sorry buddy, it's true. Guys that claim you got to do 12 hours a day of language learning, those same guys don't have the fitness level or other aspects handled, so they would benefit from this mentality as well. Maybe you know who I'm talking about if you're watching, but anyway, so choice architecture, overcoming addiction, overcoming the illusion of rational control. This is a bit of a philosophical topic. The illusion of free will. There's a lot of people that still believe they're the ones deciding things. There's a lot of people that still believe that they can just decide to do something, because in theory it's true. You can make a decision, and at times you do. And so there's a persistent illusion that many people have about their ability to overpower their behavior using their own conscious mind. But in practice, many of these same people constantly give in to temptations and behaviors that they know are sabotaging them. So once again, how do we execute on the things we know, rather than just keep entertaining bullshit illusions about how powerful it is to know something? And I'll give you one last example, and maybe show you some training here. But recently I went to a psychology meetup here in Georgia, and it was done by an actual psychologist, and she wanted to do an introductory course on psychology. And it was a 3-hour-long PowerPoint presentation about the most basic shit. And again, it's not that there's no use in knowing things, right? It's important to know sleeping is good for you and that training is good for you and all that. But it was literally a presentation on taking care of your mental health, and reciting the most basic stuff. And I just kept thinking to myself, again, this could be useful for some people, for sure. If you've never understood the link between mental health and sleep, or mental health and food, or mental health and community, of course. But what I kept thinking to myself was, everyone that's listening to this is basically going to come back home and keep doing the same stuff, unless they kind of understand some choice architecture as well. Because just what you said now, everybody knows this stuff now. It's all over social media. If you follow any kind of self-improvement or health stuff, everyone kind of knows what to do now, right? It's just, but the execution is the difficult part. And it's not a matter of always being like David Goggins or Jocko or these special forces influencers that kind of have these like hardcore messaging styles. It doesn't always have to be so fucking hardcore and serious. A lot of it is actually pretty, it's about intelligent, you know, intelligently designing your systems. Whether you're using accountability partners, whether you're like somehow preventing yourself from bringing junk food into the house. This is one of the reasons I don't like being in my parents' house sometimes, because they always have junk laying around. And as much as I know junk is bad for you, when it's literally on every fucking little table in the house, it just takes that one moment, you know, when you're feeling bad or whatever, and you have that one Hershey kiss or whatever the fuck. And then, you know, when you have one, then you're kind of just thinking, well, I failed anyway, so the day is done. So you just go off the rails. And this is what happens with a lot of people with porn, with a lot of stuff, right? So I wish they would listen to me and just get rid of it, but they're so attached to this idea that, you know, it looks nice when guests come or whatever the fuck, that they end up just eating this crap all the time. So and they're already like older, and it's not good when you're old to be eating like that, which kind of sucks, because the older you get, you kind of have to be more strict with yourself, even though you're theoretically under more pressure. As you get older, you got more responsibility, the temptations are stronger. But anyway, that's another video topic. Let's see if I can maybe get some videos in of me training, but if not, hope you guys enjoyed this. Ciao. All right, I'm gonna hit the bag a bit here, just so you guys can kind of see it's not that serious. But even hitting the bag for a few minutes, or even 1 minute, keeps your mind in that kind of training flow. It keeps your mind in the game, how to move, how to bob, how to weave, footwork, hip rotation, all that kind of stuff. And so when I spar these days, I'm never too rusty, thanks to just hitting the bag and not really even doing that much sparring, but hitting the bag and keeping my mind in the game, even if it's for 2 minutes. I don't do serious bag sessions most of the time. I'll do active recovery, so non-linear training. You know, I could be doing like push-ups, I could be doing squats, I could be hiking, and then when I'm recovering for a few minutes, I'll hit the bag, keep the blood flowing, keep the lactic acid circulating and all that. And then when I come back to my sets, I'm more ready. So I'll just show you some light sparring examples. Doesn't have to be fancy. And I'll show you some dirty boxing that I sometimes implement as well with the headbutts. Again, nothing fancy, just practicing movement, did a little dirty boxing headbutt on that bag. Once you hit somebody with this kind of section here, it's the crown of your head or whatever it's called. I mean, not the crown, but it's really fucking hard. And it was, through evolution, it became much harder to resist blunt force impact and stuff like that. You could probably break someone's nose in some ways in a safer way than using this part of your head than using your knuckles. Even though the nose is cartilage and knuckles will do fine, but I'm just saying, many people have broken their hands on a face before, including Mike Tyson. So look that up. But a little headbutt slipped in sometimes, especially in self-defense, could fucking temporarily stun your opponent and get him off you, and then you can get out of there. So that I like implementing that quite a bit into my little bag sessions. And then back to some Georgian, a couple minutes. Peace.